Live.
You're live. We're on. What are you saying?
Are we ready?
Yes,
We're
we are
live.
ready. Okay, so we are talking today about would you run into a burning building?
No,
Why?
unless you were there.
That's what I wanted to know. Would you run in after me?
I would.
I don't really trust you now. Like you just said no.
Well, in general, there are people who run toward fires, and then there are people like me that run away from fires.
Yeah, but you'd at least call 911.
Absolutely, I called 911. Well, for you, I would actually go in the building because without you, I would be lost.
Oh,
I would be sad.
thank you for saying you would go in after me. So I don't think people who would run into a building, I don't think it's like a choice. I think we're just wired that way.
Well, it's both. There are people who've been burned, and so they've been taught it's hot in there.
Oh, yeah. So, okay. So,
And
yes,
so-
that makes sense.
So there's always sort of a biology to it, but there's a psychology to who, and this is really important because some people are wired to be firefighters, and some people are not wired.
So when we say burning building, that's a metaphor. What we really mean is, would you run into action? Would you be the person to run in and save someone in a car accident? Would you be the person are you that person that has to jump in to stop something bad from happening? Are you that person that has to always put your two, like help someone out that's in trouble? Are you that person that has to go into that building, even if it's dangerous? Doesn't have to necessarily mean a burning building. So that's the metaphor.
So you're an ICU nurse.
Trauma.
You're a trauma nurse.
Right.
And so when something traumatic is happening,
I have to jump in.
you jump in.
I can't help it. It's like,
And we are walking in the neighborhood with Tinkerbell.
why are you
our
so
little
amused
black
by this story?
poodle.
He's amused by
And
it.
there were two pit bulls off their leashes. And I grabbed Tinkerbell, and you jumped in front of me and started screaming at the pit bulls. And they went, we're not going to deal with this crazy woman. and ran away.
He makes me sound crazy. I'm not that crazy. I'm not crazy. It's just.
And I have to tell you, I was never more in love with
No,
you.
he was laughing
that
at
day.
me.
It was hysterical, but I was never more in love with you that day because I was in the Army. I was an infantry medic, and
Right.
one of my first jobs was as an ambulance driver.
Right.
And I realized that there are some people that go toward burning buildings, and there's other people that don't. And I was one of the ones that didn't. And I used
And
to
that's
sort of
okay.
feel bad
Yeah, you shouldn't feel
about
bad.
it, that I'm maybe I'm not hero material.
No, there are different kinds of heroes. And I think we need to make
when I
that
was an
clear.
infantry medic, I realized I didn't like being shot at. It irritated me. It upset me. It's like, they're bullets. One could go through my skull. This is not fun. Where other people just thought it was the most awesome thing. I get to jump out of planes.
See?
Well, how cool
Oh my gosh.
is that? And
That
I'm
would be
thinking,
so much fun.
why would you ever jump out of a good plane?
Okay.
Why is that fun?
See, I
So-
think I didn't get enough testosterone when I was born because the idea of rappelling down buildings and jumping out of planes and shooting guns for a living. Oh my God. That would be my dream job.
Right, you asked me, isn't that what you always wanted
Yeah, and
to
your
be?
reply, no, I wanted to be a Playboy photographer. What? What? Who says that? Who says that?
Normal people.
No, normal, most men that I know would want the job that I jumping out of buildings and rappelling. That would be cool. So, anyways.
I married my own buddy. So
Okay,
I'm very happy
okay,
about
cut,
that.
edit. Anyways, we're live. We can't edit that. So, we're back on track now. But let's talk about the brain biology of what's going on in someone's brain that makes them run into a building or not.
So it has to do with the circuit in the brain that involves an area called the basal ganglia. There are two big structures deep in the brain, and the prefrontal cortex. And on the inside of your temporal lobe is an area called the amygdala.
Right.
And we know the amygdala, when it works too hard, people tend to feel panicky, anxious, nervous. That's also true for the basal ganglia. And if your frontal lobes are busy, so like Chloe's,
Right.
her daughter, she has really busy frontal lobes, she's likely not going to be that person who gets joy.
No, she does not like
by
karate.
running into a burning
No.
building. But if your frontal lobes are a little bit low and your amygdala and basal ganglia are a little bit low, well, you're always trying to do things to turn them on. And there are some people that are excitement-seeking, drama-driven.
Yeah, see, I'm going to push on that.
The fatal
Yeah,
attraction
but
sort
I
of
think
relationships. And that's like not me.
But wait, I'm going to push on that because I think that's part of it. But I think there's another part of it. I think part of it might have to do with how you grow up. So, like your experiences growing up. So, like I know in my case, you came out. I just have to say this, like preface this. He came outside, and Chloe and I were setting up a tent in the backyard and you were like, "Why are you in the backyard in a tent?" So it made no sense in your mind, and we are getting ready to do a survival course, a wilderness survival course. And the second phase of the course, you don't actually get to use a tent. You have to build your own shelter, and you don't get to take food. You have to actually find your own food. So you're like, why is that fun? Like, why would you ever do that? Now, for me, there may be part of it.
Because I was in the Army, and I had to do that.
Well,
and it wasn't fun. So it's not like I have no experience with this. I slept in a tent in the winter.
Right, and your idea of success is never having to do that again. So, but part of it is I didn't grow up, like there was a lot of stuff from growing up, and I hate being a victim. Like the word victim like makes me ill. Like it's repulsive to me. So if something kind of scares me, like if I have a fear of something and it kind of scares me, it's almost like, okay, I need to go figure it out. I have to figure out how to transform that fear into something more useful.
So bears scare you?
Yes.
You're going to go hang out with bears?
No, I have to figure out how to turn that into a more useful, resourceful energy. Like I don't like being scared. I don't like being a victim. I don't like it. So there's this something about it that's like, no, I don't feel comfortable living there. So
you want to challenge yourself.
Or turn it into something more resourceful, yes. Yeah, I don't like, yeah. So it's like, okay, what is this thing that's bothering me?
So I want to talk to the people who are more like me. And if when something, because you've heard this in the news a lot, that if something is, someone's being attacked, that the people around them literally will freeze and not engage in rescuing that person. And it's often because the anxiety centers in their brain are naturally overactive. And so in those stressful situations, they freeze.
It's a biological reaction.
The best thing to do, but it's what often happens when people become afraid.
Right.
And so rather than feel bad about it, what you're trying to do is overcome it.
Right.
So that if we ever get to the end of the world, that you'll be able to live in the wilderness. Right? In my mind, if we ever get to the end of the world, I'll peacefully transition.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm going down with a fight.
To the next state, right? Whatever that might be.
Yes. So there are different kinds of heroes, right? We don't want to make anybody feel bad because you don't do something. I actually think we're sort of hardwired to some degree to do some of the things we do. I don't think to myself, oh, it would be fun to go jump in front of a pit bull. By the time I realized I was doing it, it was too late. So there are people who we react in certain ways. And I know women who have been attacked. Freezing wasn't what they wanted to do. Okay. And it's a really scary thing. So it's not by choice, I don't think.
That there's a biology to it, and understanding yours, and there are ways to calm down those emotional centers in your brain so that you can react in a healthier
So what's one way?
Than freezing. Oh, well, the first thing to do is get control of your breathing. Take a big breath, take a few seconds to blow it out. Because what happens when people freeze is their breathing becomes very fast and very shallow. So just something simple, take control of it. and then make any movement.
And the next thing is move your eyes from side to side. You tend to get tunnel vision. And if you can break that tunnel vision, that's one thing that will really help you as well. And so, yeah, start to move a little bit because you start to like freeze up. So for sure.
And
now you can also train long term.
Your past
yeah.
has biology to it. And so if you've beaten yourself up for not reacting like you would have in retrospect, it may not have just been a choice. It may have had something to do with what was going on in your brain.
Mm-hmm. So we will be going out to the wilderness. You will be staying at home. And
I'll be rooting for them.
Yes.
I'll be texting them. I'll be taking care of the dog and the cat. And we will be inside where it's warm, where there's cable, and having a good time.
All right. So we will see you guys soon.
They'll report on it.